was a beautiful autumn day, and so on my way to get my hair cut and get a shave while I'm at it, I decided to slow down to admire my favorite season. Breathe in the air, admire the sound of feet stomping over leaves, admiring the leaves themselves, like this magnificent little guy. Just wonderful stuff. Life affirming. And I figured while I'm at it, I may as well tell you why you are wrong about RBY. So it is one of the most popular, long-standing stereotypes in Pokemon that RBYOU is uniquely affected by RNG. And by uniquely affected by RNG, I mean that it is more, the outcome of a game is more determined by RNG than other generations. Now, obviously, RBY is very unique in how it has certain mechanics that are not present in other generations, right? Freeze, auto KO, crit rate, you know? So, yeah, okay, things like that are drastic. So, yeah, crazy things happen. But the idea that RBY is uniquely affected by RNG is old hat. It's a thing of the past. Nobody who knows anything about RBY considers it worse than other generations anymore. So I am here to provide this public service for those who don't know. In fact, like if you still to this day believe, oh, RBY is the RNG generation more than the others, you are revealing yourself as very, very ignorant. This is not a new thing. This did not happen yesterday. This has been around for a while now. I don't pretend to know exactly the date. There goes a food delivery guy, hero. I don't know to pretend to know the exact date when it happened, but good players by and large said, RBY is competitive. No, it's not a joke, anything like that. And then it's become more and more accepted as certain great RBY players, such as Troller in particular, have demonstrated that you can be as consistent in this tier as any other tier. So the basic gist of this is that yes, there is intense RNG in RBY. Like special is a 33% drop, roughly one third, and things like that. But basically, because of the maxed out EV system, you can recover from this if you play well. And I'll give you an example. You get one crit special drop with Alakazam early in the game. In a later generation where every turn is more crucial, like if something like Tapu Lele did that, that's huge. You crit Spadef drop Magirna or something with Tapu Lele in Gen 7, now you're not very comfortable. But in Gen 1, even though crits are double damage, then it's so bulky and there are resists to these kinds of things. And therefore, you will be able to recover. Like one crit special drop, like who cares? You'll recover that off with your Starmie, your own Zam, your Chansey. You got to start chaining them together. And of course, that's why, with good team building, then people will be able to, oh, well, I recover with Chansey now, but I'm still at -2 special, so I switch out to my Alakazam, and therefore I'm okay. So now people are coming. So we're going to take a quick break and just admire the season. No, to nevadí, ale já jsem and you can admire the beautiful sound of the Czech language. Anyway, yeah, so you will be able to switch out to your other psychic taker, and you'll be okay. So the best way to wrap your mind around RBY being just like other generations is to think, oh, well, RBY is just, playing odds and RNG abuse, whatever. That's literally every generation, and if you think, oh, it's not as direct, it's like, well, I would really encourage you to take another look at the other gens and see just how much RNG is present, even on turns, even in ways that aren't obvious. I mean, Scald burns are very obvious, but not everything is a Scald burn, of course. But even the little subtle stuff is always there. Yeah, that guy looked at me like I was a psycho. Anyway, Yeah. Oh, another thing. People say, oh, well, there's no creativity in RBY team building. Every team's the same. Very, very wrong, first of all. And second of all, uh, I personally like a kind of team building where it's not about using Pokemon you've never seen before, but more about fine tuning the details of standards. It's less surface level, but it's equally rewarding, if not more so. And to that end, we have also seen in high level RBY play people whipping out, like Troller was whipping out teams with like Articuno and Zapdos, or like Zapdos and Moltres, double bird stuff, things that have never before seen. I mean, nowadays you could say people are trying to optimize RAP, and that's a problem. I don't like RAP. If there's one thing people should rip on RBY for, it's that RAP is stupid. And I made a video recently about Dragonair being used in classic top 8, and now in top 4 we saw a team with Dragonair and Weepinbell. It was Starmie Tauros, fine, and then Dragonite, Dragonair, Victreebel, Weepinbell. It got destroyed, but yeah. So that is a valid complaint, but most people aren't complaining about RAP. They're complaining about, the RNG, all the teams are the same. And people are saying, okay, well, BKC, you're telling us that RBY is not uniquely affected by the RNG. How about you show us? Okay. Uh, if you go to the Smogon Tournament section, all this information is very, very publicly available. Because you can see it in the spreadsheets, you can see it in the tournament replays, player records. Like, to take Troller as an example, if RBY really was so RNG influenced that the better player had trouble winning consistently, Troller, and he's not the only one, by the way, Troller would not be able to win as consistently as he does. His win rates are absurd. And this is in RBY, the so-called most RNG influenced generation. And there are plenty of other players who are similarly successful. Basically, if you lose in RBY, yeah, stupid stuff happens. Pokemon happens. Like, half of the annoying stuff in RBY is a full para. That's irritating in every generation. Um, and yes, Tauros critting is obnoxious, but again, and sometimes you will have that as a problem, but that's why we have best of 3. People say, oh, you need best of 3 because it's so RNG influenced. That was the thought at first, yeah. But what it really wound up being was it's also very easy to build in RBY. And I don't mean easy in that the teams are easy to make, but in that you don't have to worry about EVs. You don't even have to worry about held items. So, yeah, that guy looked at me like a maniac, and this guy coming up too, but who cares? So it's very easy to make them. And you will not have trouble putting together multiple teams per week. And if you can have best of 3, then you should, because it's just generally better. Uh, you might ask the question, well, can RBY function in a best of 1 environment? Nowadays, yes. That's why last year we had the whole problem where people said, you know what, RBY is so competitive. That's how you know it's really, common knowledge that even the people who aren't really RBYers said, okay, you know what, RBY is so competitive that we don't even need best of 3 for it anymore, and they try to bring it back to best of 1. That was stupid for other reasons. I made a whole video about that you can check out. But now it's not we need best of 3 because of luck. Now it's we need best of 3 because it's better and we can afford it. A lot of RBY players actually like best of 5. So the more the better, within reasonable, reasonability, feasibility, all that jazz. And I think that dog doesn't like RBY very much. New gen players, am I right? Anyway, that's basically it. Yeah, you can see this in action over the past several years where RBY players win consistently. If you do badly in a season of RBY, it's not because the game was out to get you. It was because you were not good enough. And the best RBY players, I mean, what's crazy is that there are so many great RBY players now, like, there's not even enough room for them in SPL. So everyone is a threat. And the quality of the games is incredibly high. Again, you can see this for yourself. You can see their records, you can see them playing, and when you're analyzing the games, you see, special drops in the first few turns, like, okay, but is this affecting the game? Now, with regards to other generations, you can say, oh, it affects the game more. Well, I mean, you just look at the numbers of the win rates, and I won't repeat myself more there. But again, RBY players cannot win so consistently if the game is really conspiring against them at all times, as RBY purportedly does. But you also look at how the outcome of the game is affected. Yes, there's RNG on both sides, and then it's really up to the players. That's generally how Pokemon works, and it's very true for RBY, and it's very true for the other generations too. For the flip side is in RBY, yes, there's more RNG, but it's easier to recover from it because everything's so bulky. And in newer gens, RNG is rarer / less impactful. You would think with crits not doing double damage instead just 1.5, and the crit rate goes down as well. But when that luck does pop up, it's a lot more impactful because it's coming from much stronger Pokemon. You get, again, I'll just use Tapu Lele because it's so strong. But you get crit by Tapu Lele, you're probably in trouble. So it evens out roughly. And even when you think, oh, RNG's out to get me, you can always play better. And the RBY players are among the very, very best in any generation at understanding the odds and understanding that the game is within their control. Yeah, hopefully that lady knows that I moved out of the way so she's not on the internet. Anyway, without her consent. So, the point being that if you don't believe me, you can see it for yourself. Ask someone you know who knows about RBY, and they will tell you, yeah, this is what it is. But I wanted to make this public service announcement because I think that it is time. It's kind of like an in the know thing at this point, where if you are, in the tournament world, in the really down the competitive Pokemon iceberg, then you know that RBY is the real deal. But if you are more on the casual side, you very likely will still think, oh, RBY is where Tauros crit each other to death and that everything is stupid and whatever. No, it's very skillful. I mean, the maneuvering around something like Hyper Beam alone is so unique and so difficult to pull off consistently. And great RBY players have such a process. It's not easy to build teams either. I mean, I said it was simple early because lack of EVs, but the level of detail that goes into RBY teams, you think, oh, as well as Chansey, Snorlax, Tauros, Psychics, Filler, Zapdos, Rhydon stuff. So how hard is it? Well, to optimize it at that level, it's difficult. It's not just about the tools you have, but how you're going to use the tools. It's fascinating stuff. So, yeah, let's keep an open mind about RBY and work to rehabilitate its image a little more. Well, I mean, it doesn't need rehabilitating among people who know who understand, that it's been a pretty foregone thing. It used to be a thing where people were like, oh, get this nonsense out of SPL, and now it's getting played in tie breaks, meaning teams are choosing to have it played when the season is on the line. That's the highest vote of confidence there is. Your season is on the line, and the manager says, you know what, before it would be like, what are you doing picking RBY? You want your season to be lost because Tauros did XYZ? Now it's like, no, we're going with RBY because our RBY player is great, and we know the metagame is not going to rob us any more than other generations would. You say, oh, well, Tauros crit me in this? It's like, yeah, well, Scald burned in one of many other generations. So you can play around Scald Burns, just like you can play around Tauros. So that's basically all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to get my haircut finally, and enjoy this beautiful, beautiful autumn.